The wife is chatting on her phone. The husband comes and the maid places a mirror behind her so the husband can see the chat. The wife says, "Massage my feet." The husband starts massaging and says, "You look very pretty in this picture." The wife suddenly looks toward the mirror and says, "What have you done?" The maid says, "I was just showing the boss the truth." The husband says, "You knew from before that my wife was cheating on me and you didn't tell me? Were you involved in the crime?" The maid says, "No, sir. I had tried before too because a few days ago, the wife was seducing her boyfriend. The boyfriend said, 'I'm desperate to see your breasts.' The wife said, 'Tonight we'll be together the whole night.' They embrace each other. Suddenly, the maid comes and says, 'Sorry, I didn't see anything.' The maid quickly leaves. The wife says, 'This maid will tell my husband. I'll go talk to her.' The wife goes to the maid and says, 'Don't tell my husband anything.' The maid says, 'You're married and what you're doing is wrong.' The wife says, 'Don't utter a single word or the result won't be good.' The wife leaves. A few minutes later, the husband comes and the maid says, 'Boss, I have something to tell you.' At that very moment, the wife comes and says, 'Darling, I'm happy to see you. Tonight we'll have a wonderful night.' The husband and wife go upstairs. The next day, the wife goes into the maid's room, puts jewelry in her bag and says, 'With this trick, I'll get you thrown out of the house.' The maid enters the room and says, 'Why are you in my room?' The wife says, 'I came to tell you to lock the main gate.' The wife leaves. A few moments later, the wife says, 'I can't find my jewelry.' The husband says, 'Search properly, you'll find it.' The maid is going outside. The wife says, 'You stole my jewelry.' The maid says, 'I've never stolen anything.' The wife says, 'Check your bag.' The maid gives her bag. The husband says, 'The maid is not a thief.' The wife takes the jewelry out of the bag and says, 'Here it is, I found it. I'm firing you right now. Get lost.' The maid says, 'Madam, I just remembered you were the one who put this jewelry in my bag so you could trap me and the boss wouldn't know the truth.' The husband says, 'What truth are you talking about?' The wife says, 'I'll give you another chance. Right now, you need this job for your child's treatment. Don't steal again.' The maid leaves. The husband says, 'What truth were you talking about?' The wife says, 'Nothing. The maid was just blabbering out of panic after being caught red-handed. Anyway, we found our jewelry.' The wife leaves. The maid says, 'I tried many times to tell the truth, but the wife silenced me. But my parents taught me never to remain silent in the face of injustice.' The husband says, 'Why did you do this to me?' The wife says, 'I made a mistake. Please forgive me.' The husband says, 'Now go to your boyfriend. You're not worthy of living in my house.' The wife leaves. The husband is crying. The maid says, 'I didn't want to humiliate her. I was only telling the truth.' The husband says, 'It's not your fault.' The maid says, 'Boss, don't worry. You'll surely find a woman who truly loves you.' She hugs the boss. A little later, the wife knocks on a door. The boyfriend comes and says, 'Are you leaving with your bag?' The wife says, 'No, my husband kicked me out. I'll live with you.' The boyfriend says, 'I never had any feelings for you. I was only with you for your money. Now you're of no use to me.' The boyfriend shuts the door and leaves. The wife is crying on the doorstep.